The government has finally decided to relax lockdown measures in the country, which was in place since the 24th of March. The businesses in the past several days had been openly flouting the lockdown measures as pressure mounted on the authority to take a decision on relaxing the lockdown. Good morning, I am Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. The government to ease nationwide lockdown, full-fledged cabinet decision to be announced later today. This year's SCE exams is scrapped. COVID-19 tally in Nepal climbs to 4,364 with 285 cases detected yesterday. 674 cases register full recovery. Prime Minister Oli says coronavirus outbreak in Nepal would attain its peak by mid-August, places legal action against any corruption during the crisis. And COVID-19 infection tally in the US goes past 2 million. Health officials urged everyone who took part in massive protests for racial justice to get tested for coronavirus. The government has decided to ease the ongoing nationwide lockdown by letting retailers, shops and businesses to open and private vehicles ply the streets on the basis of odd-even numbers in low-risk areas. The cabinet meeting that ended late yesterday at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar decided to allow the shops and businesses to resume. Likewise, the government has decided to allow private vehicles based on the odd-even number in low-risk areas, including the Kathmandu Valley. The government has, however, not allowed operating long-distance bus services. According to the decision, 2 passengers can travel excluding the person behind the wheels, while 2-wheelers will be limited to the rider alone. Meanwhile, the government has decided to cancel this year's secondary education examination or SEE. The students now will be provided grade evaluations on the basis of their internal performance this year. The National Examination Board will draft a guideline regarding this. Likewise, the government has decided to resume all government offices from 15th of June. However, educational institutions, shopping malls, cinema halls, international and domestic flights and all sorts of festivals, exhibitions and gatherings will remain suspended until further notice. Sports and recreational activities, religious and public places will also remain closed. A participating minister at the meeting yesterday informed that the government will unveil the full-fledged cabinet decision later today. 285 more individuals tested positive for coronavirus in Nepal yesterday, taking infections tally in the country to 4,370. The number of infected individuals in the country has doubled in the last 1 week, with an increase in the number of Nepalese returning from India via different border transits. Taking into account the latest infection rates, Rautahat, Kabilbastu, Sarlai and Dailek have emerged as the hotspots for coronavirus in Nepal. 53 new cases were detected in Rautahat yesterday, while 48 in Kabilbastu, 27 in Sarlai and 25 in Dailek. The number of districts affected by the novel coronavirus has now reached 72. Among the infected, 674 have returned home after full recovery. 15 people have lost their lives due to coronavirus in the country as of today, while 172,000 individuals have been kept in quarantine centers across the country. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said that the novel coronavirus outbreak in the country would attain its peak by mid-August and that effect of the virus would remain for additional 1 month then after. Prime Minister Oli made the remark while responding to the questions raised by lawmakers at the House of Representatives regarding the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Citing that containing the current coronavirus pandemic would not be possible by the government's efforts alone, Premier Oli stressed on the need of unified effort from all political parties and stakeholders. He said that the COVID-19 pandemic has terrified almost every country in the world and containing it has been more challenging for a country like Nepal with limited resources. Speaking at the parliament meeting, Prime Minister Oli said the government has been making maximum effort to prevent the virus from spreading further. He, however, admitted that the infection rate has surged due to the lack of adequate quarantine facilities and screening, which he attributed to the unrestrained entry of thousands of citizens from the border transits. Prime Minister Oli said that around 215,000 Nepalese have entered the country from India in the past 1 month and that around 1,000 have been crossing into Nepal every day.
लगभग साउनको अन्तिमतिर यो पिकमा पुग्ने र त्यसपछि कम हुँदै गएर कार्तिकमा समाप्त हुने जस्तो देखिन्छ। तर त्यस्तो नहुन पनि सक्छ। हाम्रा चाडबाडहरू दशैं तिहार जस्ता चाडबाडहरू जहाँ मानिसहरू थप आउँछ, विदेशबाट आउँछ, अब त्यसबाट संक्रमण फेरि आउन सक्छ, फेरि अलिक समय बढ्न सक्छ र अझै अलिकति लम्बिन पनि सक्छ। यी सम्भावनाहरू पनि हाम्रा अगाडि छन्। मैले एउटा भन्नै पर्ने हुन्छ, हामी कहाँ फैलिएको अथवा संक्रमित पाइएको कोरोनाको बिमारी मध्ये 85% भन्दा बढी भारतबाट आएका व्यक्तिहरूमा भेटिएको छ। भारतबाट जो व्यक्तिहरू नेपाल प्रवेश गर्नु हो उहाँहरूमा त्यो 85% भन्दा बढी।
In a different context, the Prime Minister claimed that there was no irregularities in purchasing medical equipment and the management of quarantine centers. Prime Minister Oli also pledged to take legal action against anyone found involved in such irregularities. Prime Minister, however, did not clarify the opposition's query regarding particular headings. The 10 billion has been spent in containing the coronavirus outbreak in Nepal, as had been claimed by the government. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Oli expressed satisfaction on solidarity expressed by parties on constitution amendment to officially incorporate the revised political and administrative map of Nepal. Meanwhile, the parliament endorsed the budget for the upcoming fiscal year by majority votes. The agreement of the US aid agency Millennium Challenge Corporation is currently in dispute, especially due to its preconditions. In line with other foreign donor agencies, the MCC too has pushed for policy amendment to its liking. The government in Nepal also have long been amending policies and formulating laws acting on the interest of donor agencies. The World Bank, for instance, announced 12 billion rupees of assistance for boosting institutional capacity of Nepal Electricity Authority. Experts, however, opine that such an initiative is the donor's indirect way of saying that there are flaws in the authority's programs and institutional arrangements that needs correction. Likewise, another multifaceted donor agency, the European Union, has been diplomatically lobbying to split Civil Aviation Authority into separate service-oriented and regulatory bodies. The EU has even put forth the proposal for financial assistance to accomplish this intention. Likewise, there was a financial assistance of British donor agency DFID during the replacement of Nepal's National Code of Criminal Code and Civil Code Acts and during the formation of the Industrial Enterprises Act. There are several other instances when foreign donor agencies have influenced policy formations and amendments merely to fulfill their business interest at the backdrop of large-scale assistance. The preliminary responsibility of policy amendment and drafting legal provision lies on the country's bureaucracy. However, the government staff and political party members at the policy-making level have often been found adjusting the provision to the donor's liking in return of their vested interest. Analysts are of the view that such a tendency has largely compromised Nepal's development interest. And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And your question is, what's your take on foreign donors being focused on policy formation rather than infrastructure development? And options are option A, self-interest, option B, influenced policy makers, and option C, deeming necessary. The voting is on. Type in AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Stay safe and have a good day.